All right, y'all ready? Everything good? I'm good. It's a go. All right then. Hey, how y'all people doing out there? The good fans who come to see me and hear what I have to say, and I hear what you have to say, and it just feels good to be able to politic my fans and my friends and family and watching my show. Thank you again for another episode of Bouncing Back with Pretty Pat. And this episode is going to be about, I'm going to talk a little bit about Black history because I like Black history. You'll learn that I'm tied in with a lot of that Black history stuff. And it was interesting to me because my family is a part of that. I mean, the struggle anyway. People talk about the struggle on the streets and them in the game and just scrambling and stuff like that. But if you knew the story or knew the history, Black history, and how our people began scrambling from the beginning and the struggle from the very beginning, then you'll understand and you'll probably see it in a different light, especially if somebody break it down in a different way. And I'm not famous for all the college presentation and all of those stuff. I just keep it raw. I just keep it real, and I'm just me. Not trying to impress nobody. I'm just me, Pat, Pretty Pat. I've been through a lot, Like I say, if you didn't know, you can go get the book Crave by Lori Canady and read a couple of chapters about when, I met her when she was going through her struggle. And she told a little bit about me. And like some of you probably already know, that I wasn't totally satisfied because it told some things that I really didn't want people to know. But in saying that, I also have learned in the midst of that when God calls you, He calls you to do certain things. And those things doesn't always mean that it's going to be a good thing or a pretty thing or something to be proud of, So I feel like my life, because I always ask God, why did I have to take this route? Why did I have to, go through selling drugs? My plans was to go into service and, make a life of myself in the, armed forces. But as you'll see when my book come out, it's The Devil's Playground by Pretty Pat, that, a lot of those things discouraged me as well. So different people, different mindsets. So my mindset took me in a different route because I was kind of let down as far as, a lot of things becoming. I go ahead and tell you like this. I didn't want to say this, and I don't know if I can say it, but it's the truth. And I'm saying it's sad because I never really did anything about it. When I was first starting off, and I wanted to go into service, and I started out in the streets hanging. I had this thing for the cool cats. Y'all know me, and the nice cars, and the women and clothes, and just that lifestyle. I was addicted to that. But I saw I wasn't really taking me anywhere. And my mom and them knew that from the very beginning. So they always used to try to stay on me and point me in another direction. So anyway, I was messing with this lady, the one that wrote the book and put me in it, Lori. And she went into service. So in the midst of her going into service, I said, I need to make a power move with my life. So I said, I'm going to go into service, And I really went at it, took the ASVAB test, was feeling good about it, passed it. Now check this out, this is a true story. Passed it, and when they told me that I passed it, they said I passed the ASVAB test. For y'all who don't know, the ASVAB test is the test you gotta take before you go into armed service. So I took the test, and depending upon what you score determines what your job is when you go into service or what branch you want to go to. Because, like some people, well, it used to be like this. Some people, if they wanted to go in the Air Force, you had to score real high on the ASVAB test. or whatever jobs, depending upon your scoring. That's what it was all about, your scoring. And I scored. I said I was going to go in the Army. I ain't gonna lie, from the very beginning, I felt like, y'all got to excuse me, because I know I've been off a couple of weeks, but I done gained a couple of pounds. And I did not know I was this big until I was at church today and I walked past the glass and I said, oh my God. But anyway, so I decided to go to the armed services and go in the Army. So when I took the ASVAB test, and I know my mom and them, they was like, he ain't gonna do nothing. He hooked on, hustling and doing this and doing that. We're not gonna be able to get him to, But anyway, I wanted better the whole time. So when I decided to do this, because I had already experienced some of the dark sides of the game, and I saw right then that, this might not be something that I want to do for real. Because it took me out of my character. It took me out of my element, and it was like an out-of-body experience. And what I was seeing, I wasn't proud of. So I said, this is a good time for me to do something with my life. So when I passed the ASVAB test and I looked at my scores, this was crazy. They said I scored high enough to be a helicopter specialist. Yeah, y'all heard it. Pretty bad. Helicopter specialist. Yeah, I was going to be working on helicopters. So I was so excited. I couldn't believe it, but I was so excited. My mom was so excited. My family was so excited. So I came home and, because I was in Tennessee with my dad. That's in the book too, Lori's book, when I went to Tennessee. So I went to stay with my dad to get myself together, to kind of try to, get my thoughts together. And I'm always going off the subject. But across, in the apartment complex where we were staying at, across the interstate was, they had all these cows. This was in the country, in like Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, state line. So they had these cows in this pasture on this hill and stuff. But at the end of the interstate, right at the edge, they had a bull pen. And there was this bull in there. And I used to always go down to the interstate, to the bull, cage pen or whatever, and just stand there and just look at him and stare at the bull and wonder, how did he get here? And I began to make this a habit, coming down every day and talking to the bull. It eventually made me feel like that me and the bull had something in common. We both were in a cage. We both were black sheeps. He was a black bull, but I was a black sheep. But we had similar lives, and he didn't look happy in that cage alone. And I wasn't happy on the outside of that cage alone. So that's when I started thinking that maybe I need to do something with my life and make a power move. Something that, that's going to catapult me into a better life. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take the ASVAB test. So that's when I decided I'm going to do this. So anyway, when I took the test and I passed it and I became, hired and scored high enough to be a helicopter specialist, I was so proud of myself. And I wanted my mom and them to know so bad and so fast. So when I told her, she was so excited. She was proud. You could see it in her, you could hear it in her. And it made me feel good because I knew that I was about to make her happy. So I said, they gave me a leave date like 2 months from at that point or whatever. So I came home back to Portsmouth. And it said I'm, spend some time with my family before I go. Because I was staying in Tennessee with my dad. So when I came back here, I said I would. But anyway, it ended up being a time to F off for the last time, pretty much. But I had the chance to really spend some time with my mom. And the day before I left, she took me out to dinner. And she told me how proud she was of me, and it made me feel good. So the next day I got on, the bus and went back to Tennessee because I was going to leave from there. So the place where we had to go to get our tickets and our orders and stuff, it was probably about 20 of us. So we went there. My dad drove me down there. I think that was in Knoxville, Tennessee, I believe. So I went there. So all of us was in this room, and I don't know if we took the physicals then or whatever, but anyway, everybody was, they was picking each person and taking them and putting them on the van and taking them to the airport or where they was heading on their way to start a new life. So I had noticed that I was getting down. I was like being one of the last ones. And I started to get kind of worried because you got to remember, I had came from the street and I had already kind of felt like I couldn't do nothing with my life because you know how the streets beat you up and your self-esteem. So when I scored high enough to be a helicopter specialist, I really made up my mind and said that I'm going to really do something with my life and I'm going to do something with this and I'm going to go through with it. So I was excited, and I was going to do all that I could and like Uncle Sam say, be all that I could be. So when I got down to like 2 people left, one of the sergeants came out into the lobby and it was like, Scales. I was like, yes, sir, that's me. He said, come to the back. I need to talk to you. I was like, okay, sir, what's the problem? He said, come on to the back. So we went to the back. He took me in his office. He told me to have a seat. I sat down, and he didn't walk around his desk. He just, how they walk in front of the desk, turn around, and just leaned on it. And he said, Scales, he said, there's no easy way to tell you this. He said, and I know you're going to be upset. He said, but I just want you to know that it's nothing that I can do about this. And it's just the way it is. I know it's 1990, whatever, but, racism still exists today. And I'm puzzled. And I'm like, what is he saying? Where is he going? Man, where's my ticket? So he said, somebody made a mistake on your, in your records. And somebody put a C in your race category when they should have put a B for black. So I started wondering. I said, well, okay, that's a quick fix. Just change the C, which meant Caucasian, to a B, which would mean black, and send me on my way. So he said, sir, it's no easy way to tell you this. So I'm just going to shoot straight from the hip. I said, what's wrong, sir? He said, it's not an easy fix like that. I said, well, what's the problem? He said, when you take the test, the ASVAB test, he said they rate you according to your scores and according to your race. Yeah, I was crushed. So I was like, so what you getting at? He said, son, with your scores, according to, what they, whatever, by, he said, your job would be infantry, cook, or something along those lines, being black. He said, with your scores in your race as Caucasian, it landed you to score high enough to be a helicopter specialist. Do you get what I'm saying? This was in the 90s. So when he said this, I was like, oh my God, are you really saying what I think you're saying, man? He was like, bro, he said, that's just the way it is. And I can still remember those words just vibrating out of my head. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And then I kept seeing Uncle Sam come in and say, join the army and be all you can be. And I was like, this is impossible. How could it be? So he said I had a choice to make. He said, I know you probably don't want to go in, and I know you probably got mixed feelings, but if you decide to go in, you're going to have to change your job to infantry or cook. And I sat there, and then the gangster came out of me, and I was like, you know what? F Uncle Sam. And that's just how I was feeling. I said, now I got to go back out here, call my mother, and let her know again I didn't go through with something that she really, hoped I would go through with. And I was. But this time, it wasn't my fault. So, but I guess it kind of was, because some people would say that you still should have did it. But I say no. Because why would I fight for a country that don't even consider me worthy? You feel what I'm saying? Why should I go and stand, put my life up for a country that just don't care nothing about me for real? They just want to use me. So I decided I ain't doing this. So I went back outside, sat on the curb. Tears began to drop. Because I was like, this was my shot. I was so excited. And now, I gotta go back. This is just the way I was thinking, because I didn't have to go back at the time that I look at it now. But I said, back to Portsmouth I go. The heroin capital. I'm going back to something that I was trying to run away from. And I didn't know how to handle that. I could have stayed. I should have fought it out. I should have figured it out. But that's hindsight now. But that was the first great discouragement that I had to experience. And that kind of hurt me real bad. And that started me off on the wrong road. And I never, I came home, to rush this little quick story up. I came home, told my mom, my dad, they ain't really believe it, because, that's just what we do. And that's just how they see us. I even had the paper as proof, but they didn't understand it. They couldn't grasp it. And I guess they just wrote it off as another pack of stunts. But that was the truth. And in my book, that's the chapter. It's going to be called Uncle Sam. And that's when I talk about that. But anyway, that discouraged me. And that's why I never did go into service. I never did follow suit. That was my big, power move. And me and the bull again, back in the cage. In my cage, it was the life of destruction. It was bad decisions. It was poor me. Some people can get on those type of terms as far as their mentality, and you don't understand why they do certain things. And maybe they don't either. But everybody don't have the same mentality. Everybody deal with things different. And I can say now, looking back all those years, I didn't handle it the way that I should have handled it. I should have fought back. I should have bounced back. I should have showed that I was going to get in the ring and I was going to knock life out regardless. But I didn't. I went back to the illusion, thinking that, the so-called white man is, you hear so much in our life, but it ain't no white man, it ain't no purple man, it ain't no black man. It's you. It's all about what you gonna do with your life. Now, I can understand some people getting off on the wrong foot, going through some things, and mentality is not right and not in a good place. And you make bad decisions, because that was me. But in the end, it's up to you. It's up to me to just decide that this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do it. And it's nobody's fault but yours. It's nobody's fault but mine. So that was something that I never got over. Cause from there it was, excuse me, I've been sick all week, a viral infection. I had to say that because you see, he called me, he got cold, and that's the first thing he said. He got cold, and I'm good, negative for the COVID and flu. I just got a viral infection, and believe it or not, the viral infection that's just as worse as the COVID or the flu. That's stuff clogging up my lungs. That's stuff trying to take over right now in my body. But it's crazy how we think, because somebody will be like, oh, he just got a cold. He ain't got COVID. COVID might be one of them small strains that it ain't nothing but a runny nose or just nothing. You feel normal. You just testing positive. But that will scare people, just the word COVID. And the viral infection is okay. It's funny how we look at certain situations and things, it's crazy. But anyway, I just came back and I was deciding to go ahead and stick with it. I'm back on the grind. I thank everybody out there who, reached out to me and told me that they felt good about, my show, and that they were a fan and that they were watching, and it just blew my mind. And I said, this weekend, this Saturday, I ain't gonna procrastinate. I ain't gonna play no games. I'm gonna get up there and grind and talk to my fans and get back to bouncing back, because that's what it's about. Yeah, you're gonna have some shady days, some ill nights, some discouragement, some of this, some of that. But at the end of the day, don't let the devil fool you, because you are God's people and you can do whatever you want to do as long as you got God on your side. And that's what it is with me. So I bounce back in here and I'm back on the tube, and I'm proud and I'm glad and I'm excited. So I'm here. So thanks, y'all. Y'all lift me up. And that's what it's all about, lifting one another up. So anyway, let me go ahead and talk about Black history and how it became exciting for me. First of all, a lot of people, you hear about Black history and, the struggle, the movement. You hear about Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson. You hear about, Medgar Evers. You just hear about, Al Sharpton. The people, the name brand people. You don't hear about the people that was also in the struggle, just as hard as they were in the struggle. But let's just say, they were the face of the struggle, of the movement. And see, the movement was, in case you didn't know what the movement was a stand down. It was a time that Black people were saying, enough is enough. Black toilet, white toilet. You can't go in the restaurant. You had to ride in the back of the bus. You had to do this. You had to do that. They treated us so bad, for us to be so good. Black people are some good people. You got to give it to us, Now, the only thing I say about Black people, we don't stick together. But could that have been something that was planted in us through this situation? I don't know. Not trusting each other? I don't know. Because it don't seem right that we went through so much and we were beat down so bad. They was killing us. They was hanging us from trees. The Emmett Till, did you see that? And her mother, Bees Deuces, she wanted her coffin for her son to be open so that you could see. I mean, this guy was beat to death. I mean, to a pulp, till you couldn't recognize none of him. It disfigured his face. And this was a mother that said, no, open the casket and let people see the reality of a lynching on that young boy. You know, and that was powerful coming from her. But these are the things that we had to go through. So, you know, eventually a bunch of Southern ministers got together because, you know, everybody was tired of it. I mean, enough was enough. But we had to do something. They decided that we have to do something to make a better way for our people. So they started the movement. So all these Southern ministers, period, and all of them didn't have to be Southern because you had white ministers, you had some good white people in this world. I gotta give that to them too. I shoot you the deuces piece to you too, because if you go back and look at the history, you'll see it was a lot of white people fighting for us. We was being lynched and hosed down with the fire extinguishers and beat with the batons and all that. And they were right there saying, no, it ain't right. And they were called, you know what, nigger lovers. So they felt like, if you a nigger lover, we're going to treat you just like them. So, you know, I mean, all white people, like, it's not that bad. It's just that you don't know which ones. It's just you don't know which ones. So you got to just play your cards right. Just treat people good. And treat everybody, you know, good. Everybody's God's people. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. See how God planned that in my heart. And that's just not with me. That goes for a lot of black people. That's just how they see it, you know. We have a forgiving heart. And for to go through what we went through, man, well, that's tough. And the Holocaust, man, we've been through some stuff, you know. The Jewish people went through the Holocaust. That was one of the most horrific things that I've ever seen, you know. I mean, you just got to go back and look at the history. That's what I'm talking about. So, since it's Black history, I'm going to keep going on. But, hey, check that out, the Holocaust. But anyway, so these Southern ministers said, we're going to come up with something and start making a stand, you know. So they already knew that they was going to get beat up and possibly killed and ridiculed against. And they already knew this. But they say, you know what? We don't care. And you know what? It really wasn't for them. Because they knew that it was a possibility that they could die. So they was doing this so that they would be able to pass it forward. I hope I said that right. Meaning that they knew that they probably wouldn't see the times when things changed to their liking or their desires or knew what they deserved, what we deserved. But we're going to do it anyway. We're going to start right here so that maybe things down the line, the people that will come after us have a better way. You know, things will be better for them. And that's powerful to know that you doing something. You putting your life on the line, but it's not necessarily for you. You putting your life on the line for those behind you that's coming. You know, that is so powerful and bold. That's what the movement was about. And it's sad to see that a lot of young people, a lot of older people, a lot of middle class, whatever, don't have a clue about what the movement was about. And some don't even care. But some just don't understand. So that's why I'm trying to enlighten you on the movement, because even me knowing the movement and what I learned through school and, you know, movies or whatever, I still didn't really understand the magnitude of what they did until I learned that my father was one of those Southern ministers. And when I learned that my father was one of those Southern ministers, I went back and I started studying and I started seeing, because, you know, this was something that I learned. That's another show. But my father was Dr. William B. Howe, and he was a civil rights activist. And he was a minister, Southern minister in Columbus, Georgia. Look him up. Dr. William B. Howe. He fought and walked and marched and went all out, for our people so that we can have a better way, along with Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and all them guys. So, but they're not known. They're the unknown. Just like I don't think Ralph Abernathy, I don't think he gets the credit that he should get. Now, Ralph Abernathy, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. I'll chop a name up in a minute. But he was really the leader of the movement. He's the one that got everything together, got all the ministers together. They used to meet in the churches in different places and whatever, and decided to do this thing. And they knew that they was going to get beat up. They knew that they was going to jail. They knew all of that. But they were still willing to fight for the cause, And that's the part I didn't know, because I'm like, man, that's messed up. They locking them up. They doing this. They doing that. But they knew that they was going to get locked up. As a matter of fact, that's why they marched. They did those things so that the media would capture those moments and talk about it. And then that way, more of the world could see exactly what was going on during those times and how our people were being treated. So it was a form of I'm gonna say what's the word when you marketing? It's sad to say marketing, but I shouldn't say that. But it was a way to get it out. What their mission was to get it out, and it was being got out. But a lot of people got killed, and a lot of people got beat, and a lot of people just still done no wrong. Done wrong. But all these Southern ministers, they used to get together and decide what we're gonna do. So they started marching, and they started doing this, and they started boycotting and all this. So it was like they knew that they was on to something, but they felt like, I think Ralph, the one, I'm not sure, but maybe it was Ralph. One of them came up to the point and said, you know what? We need a mouthpiece. We need somebody that can talk. We need somebody that can get on that mic and just, talk to people and get them to see what we trying to do and get them to feel what we feel. Somebody that had the gift, of discernment, of just called. He had to be called. That's what it is. He had to be called by God for this specific job. And that's when they met the Reverend Martin Luther King. So, because a lot of people, even myself, thought Martin Luther King started it and this was his thing. But it wasn't. Because when they went to him, to be honest with you, Martin didn't even want to do it. He was like, it was like, nah, that's not for me. Y'all can go ahead, but thanks, but that's not for me. But they kept going to him because they kept hearing him. And when Martin would speak and preach, and he was in that pulpit, hey, Martin would get your ears perked and get you listening and paying attention and also understanding and also riled up, knowing that this is wrong and we got to do something about it. He was pretty much preaching along those lines anyway. So they kept going at him like, man, you got to be it. That's why Martin believed in peace, not violence. Which you probably already know that. You probably saw that in the Malcolm X movies or whatever. Malcolm believed in anything necessary. Malcolm was a bad dude too. Malcolm X. We have a show about that one day too. But Martin believed, because he took on Gandhi's theory, some you look Gandhi up. He didn't believe in violence either. So that's what Martin took on. But anyway, long story short, because I know we're about to run out of time, Martin decided to go ahead and do it. Martin said, you know what? Yeah, I'll do this. So when Martin started speaking, more people started listening and more people started joining the movement. They saw what was going on. And there was it had to be a good feeling for our people back during those times to see people moving, to see, people taking action, to see people saying, I ain't scared no more, I'm making a stand, like Rosa Parks. That was a bad sister. She sat in front of the bus. She said, I ain't getting up. No, I'm tired. Well, Rosa was a bad sister. It was a lot of things that people were doing and fighting and speaking. And like Mandela was doing it in Africa. That's why he got all that time. They hunted him down. He had to wear wigs and all that old stuff and go underground before they got him too. That was the apartheid, I believe. But anyway, Martin Luther King decided to do this. And when he decided to do it, he did it. When he did it, he discovered that this is what he was meant for. This was a gift from God. Martin Luther King was supposed to be the face of the movement. Martin Luther King was sent here to do just what he did. And he also knew that he wasn't going to be here forever. He would never grow old. He knew that. He felt that. And I'm thinking that God had to put it in his heart. So that even made Martin even a better person in my eyes because he went with it. And for him to go with this man, had a family, he had beautiful kids, and he was just getting started, So to take that type of cup and that type of responsibility, knowing that you could die any day, that's heavy. How many people would do that? Be honest. Those guys, stood out. They went on the front lines. I mean, white people really hated us. Hated us. They would shoot you. They would kill you just if you say something wrong. That's what they did to Emmett Till. They say Emmett Till, I believe, whistled at a white woman. And that's what they did to Emmett Till. A kid. So imagine what they would do to you or, myself, So to put yourself in that situation and to go through it, it had to be done. And that's how. Well, they killed him. They ended up killing him. The Robert Kennedy, he was a good white person as well. He was with the Kennedys. President John Kennedy, his brother, Bobby Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. He always spoke for us. He always thought that we needed to be treated better. And when they got in office and he tried to get his brother to look at the situation and be like, look, we got to do something for them, because this ain't right. So it is some good white people in the world. And they killed Bobby as well. They killed Bobby. They killed John Kennedy. This is what all this was about. Because it was the movement. And a lot of people didn't believe that we deserved to be treated like Americans. So when you had certain people stand up back in those days to say, look, they are Americans as well. They helped build this country as well. Oh, man, you better not say that. They were going to kill you. And they was killing people too. That's heavy. So that's how that thing transformed into, going underground. Over the years, it got better, but it's not gone. It's still here. You saw that when Trump got in office. When Trump said, I know I'm not supposed to politics, but whatever Trump say, hey, it happened. When Trump was running for office, you saw that a lot of closet people came out of the closet and was showing you their real color. And to me, that kind of hurt me because I like all people. And I was kind of hoping that a lot of that stuff was put behind us. You know, over the years, I'm 55. I just turned 55. But I wasn't able to see the struggle for real, you know, like our grandfathers or great grandfathers or whatever, what they did for us. But I could feel it, you know, and it hurt. And I was kind of hoping that a lot of that was, you know, behind us. But when Trump came, he merely just showed us that it's still here. They just hiding. But now they don't hide no more. So if it's somebody out there like that, man, just look, I consider myself a tough guy. But when it comes to racism, I don't want no parts of it. Because I believe in God. And I believe that God loves us all. And I believe that God wants us all to get along and work together and figure this thing out called life. Because that's what's important. You know, life. Not the petty stuff like hating you because you're lighter than me or you're darker than me. Hating you because you got something and I don't. Hating you because you white and I'm black, or I'm black and you white. That's not what it's about, you know. It's about pulling together, loving each other, and saying, hey, let's figure this thing out. You know, if you getting out of a hole and you got out of a hole and you know some more people in that hole, don't just walk away. Turn around, look back in that hole and say, somebody give me your hand. That's what it's about. So the movement catapulted us into another dimension of this thing. Meaning, things did get better. May not be the best, but I ain't gonna lie, it look pretty good. I think we doing pretty good. You know, yeah, you got a few people in the closet. Yeah, you got a few people that still hate us. But I believe that God is the man. And God will fight your battle. And I believe that we are some strong people. And I can say that without being prejudiced or whatever. To go through what we've been through and still can walk out of the smoke and hold our head up and still have dreams and just to be ambitious and to say that you can do this. And despite the prejudices and the doors closing in your face and the people gritting on you and knowing if some people against you and knowing if somebody put your application in the back, we still stand there and be strong. We still stand there and strive to be better and to move forward without paying attention to all the nonsense that the devil wants you to pay attention to. And that's heavy. And that's what the movement was about. The movement was about making a better way. And all of us are to stick together. You feel what I'm saying? No, don't judge another person. Don't belittle another person. Treat everybody kind and good and with love and try to help one another. We trying to get to a better place. That's what the movement was about. And we had to get to a better place through a lot of turmoil, pain, suffering. It was a lot to go through if you look back in those days. So when I see older people, man, I just feel, you know, compelled to go talk to them, to pick their mind, to get some of the wisdom from them, because you know they've been through a lot. They have some things to tell you. They can show you the way. You know, you might be lost. I was lost. I know some other people that was lost. But a lot of times, don't disrespect or disregard our elders, our older people, our, elderly, because they can help us get to the promised land because they've been there. They've been through the struggle. And they fought just like their people before them fought and their people before them fought. And now it's at a generation where this is the last, I believe that this is the last generation, my parents, and from your 70s to 90s or 100 or whatever, they were like the last of the Mohicans that really understood the struggle. So the millennials come, and my generation come. I believe that we'll probably step up next. I'm glad because I forgot who I was talking to. Oh, Gary, my buddy Gary. He was talking about the upper room. We up next. And I was like, yeah, we up next, man. So life don't stand still for nobody. Everybody got to taste that pill. Everybody, one day, gonna lay on that slab. So you might as well get it in your mind. When the end is the end, that's just what it is. The end. At least in this life, in this world. So it's our duty to do our best. And, and to help others. And just do what you have to do. God made a plan for you. He has destiny for you in your life, and it's up to you to figure it out and get on with it. And then you'll learn the secrets, and then you'll be able to live a prosperous life and enjoy life just like everybody else. But you got to get in that type of mindset and be able to see things in a different way. Like I was talking to my son earlier, and you might see his show. They came back, checked old Pop out, and we got to talking. That's one of my younger sons that he believed the street is everything, and I always try to tell him that it's not. It's nothing. It's just a waste of time. But he don't want to hear it because, making a few dollars right now. He feel like he on top of the world. And I keep trying to tell him, man, that's an illusion. That's the biggest trick. Well, one of the biggest tricks that the devil get our people with is getting our brothers in that game. That game ain't nothing. It'll bring you down. It'll continue to have you, in bad space. And in the whole time, you thinking that you doing something good. And the whole time, you in shackles. You ain't going nowhere. But you can't see that. But anyway, that's what the struggle was about. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go ahead and go. And I'm glad y'all tuned in and heard me and took the time out to listen to me about, Black history and the struggle. Martin Luther King and the struggle. And my father, Dr. William B. Howe. A lot of times you don't really understand the situation. But if you just stop what you're doing and look back, for yourself, and go back and do some reading or studying or look at a movie or something, a real movie, not the fake ones, and you'll learn some things. Maya, she was like a face of the movement as well. Maya Angelou, the great poet. She used to be in all, you might have catching a couple of those Tyler Perry movies when they was having a reunion. Cicely Tyson and Maya Angelou was in there. Maya was a strong Black woman, and a lot of people didn't know this, but you need to read her book as well. I think her book was called, I read a lot, Why Do a Caged Bird Sing? And that is a good book. And it was pretty much, she was explaining as from her childhood, what she went through and how she began to write poetry and how she began to see things different in her life and how she became the great author and poet Maya Angelou. And I did not know that she ran, I think she was in New York when I ran. She ran the chapter, the movement. She handled it. Because, the movement was everywhere. It wasn't just in like one spot. They started it and it got bigger and they moved, the north, it was in the south, it was everywhere. Everybody was joining together. And she ran it, the chapter, the movement. I think she was the president or whatever. Don't quote me on it, but check it out. Read it or Google it or whatever. In New York. And she was doing such a good job. See, she didn't really care about Martin Luther King all that much, because she thought that he was just an arrogant person or whatever. He just doing it for the fame or whatever. She said this is when she knew that Martin Luther King was real. And this is when she decided that she was going to give it her all because she knew Martin and the cause was so serious and sincere. And that what she was doing wasn't in vain. So Martin said, I want to meet Maya, since she was doing such a good job. So they told Maya, they said, look, Maya, somebody here to want to meet you. And they was like, who? It's her office. I just imagine her office is on the 27th floor. She got a big desk or whatever, the chair, swivel chair, whatever, and the glass behind it. She can look out, you see, it's a pretty view. So when she walked in the office, she saw her chair turn, towards looking out at the view. And they told her it was a person very important in there that needed to talk to her. So when she went in there and the chair turned around, it was the Reverend Martin Luther King. And they had never met. But Martin came to pay her a visit to tell her that he really appreciated her work and what she was doing for the cause. Now, Maya knew who Martin was, but she had never met him and she had mixed feelings with him. So, Martin they started having a little conversation, and Martin was like, what's your how your family doing? How many brothers, sisters, or whatever you got, or whatever. Now, Maya had a little brother that she loved. It was only her and her little brother. Maya loved her little brother, but he had been through so much as he had gotten older. He had been to jail. He was out in the street. He just was going the wrong way. So she still loved him because that was her heart. But she was ashamed to tell certain people about him because she didn't want people to talk down about her brother, So Martin, the question came, something she was trying to avoid and she dreaded. So how is your brother doing? That's what Martin asked her. And she put her head down. She was like, my brother has been through a lot. He's been to jail. He's been out in the street. He's just been having it tough in life. And, he's okay. He'll be all right. But Martin stopped her. He said, he said, I feel, that you feel a little bit of shameness about your brother. And she was like, yeah, I kind of I'm not quick to share that part of my life with certain people because you don't know how, who cares or not, pretty much. So Martin told her, look, hold your head up. She said, what your brother has been through is one of the main reasons for the movement, to make a better way for us. Because when the movement started, they already had knew that it was different lanes that we were going the wrong way in. Because some people don't know how to take certain things. And you don't know what Maya's little brother, how he took, to those things to make him run to the street. So Martin said, that's why we're trying to make a better way for our people, so that those things won't happen. Because whatever they doing over there, and their laws and their prejudices and all that, it was designed for that to happen. So hold your head up and keep fighting, because your brother is just caught up in what we're trying to fix. He told Maya, he said, don't ever be ashamed of him. Always love him and always be there for him and never give up on him. And Maya heard those words coming from the great Martin Luther King, and it just tore her up. It made her feel so good. She just felt like, okay, finally, this man is real. You know, he didn't do what she thought he was going to do. And that was downgrade her brother. You know, or look at her brother as less than. He didn't do that because he understood the will of God. And he understood our people. And he understood the movement. So Maya said from that day on, Martin Luther King was one of her favorite people. That's a deep story. Go read a book. Why Does a Caged Bird Sing? But anyway, thanks again, y'all. I salute all my soldiers out there, people out there in the struggle, scrambling, whatever. Keep your head up. Stay strong. Keep trying to fight. Don't never give up. Don't never settle. And always know that you can do better. You can do better. And people say that people talk about you when you're down. But one thing I've learned, people also talk good about you when you're trying to do better. People will come from anywhere. God will send people to you to help you, to guide you, and you don't even know these people. So it's not even about family as well. You know, when you got a relationship with God, and that's what you need in the struggle. You need it in life, period. There's no way in the world you can go through life, I'm thinking, and not have a relationship with the one who made you. That's kind of crazy to me. Even though what I've been through, I've always been spiritual. Because I understand that nobody can help me out here. The Creator can help me, guide me. But I have to have my mentality right to be able to see the signs, to be able to hear what he's trying to tell me, to be able to feel the love. So, yeah, I'm late in life, trying to get it, almost got it, we gonna get it. So, that's what it's about, bouncing back. And again, thank you so much for being there for me. Thank you so much for encouraging me. And another thing, they were saying that I need to say more about subscribe. Hit the subscribe. You hear it all the time. I'm just not used to saying it, but when I be watching different shows or whatever, look, hit that subscribe button. That's how they say it. Yeah, push that like. Subscribe and like. And we gonna do this thing together. And we gonna blow. Who knows? I don't know where I could go with this, but I know I'm touched by God. And I know that I'm a special person. And I know that I'm not still here for nothing or by chance. It's something in my life that I'm supposed to do. And I'm talking about major too. And I've been through a lot. And the things I've been through prepared me for what I'm about to go through. And I think my best years are ahead. So I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep bouncing. And you keep fighting, and you keep bouncing, and you know in your heart that you are worthy, and that you are God's child, and that you are somebody. Don't you let nobody tell you that you not nobody, you this or you that. If somebody trying to dog you or bring you down or belittle you, later for them. You don't need them. Go. Let them go. Because they're not meant to go where you going. And if you stay tied to them, why would you? You'll always be where you not supposed to be. And you always get what you always got. So if somebody is dissing you or making you feel like you're not worthy and just not showing the love, let them go. Why would you want to stay tied to that? That's a good piece by Pretty Black. So thanks again, y'all. I'll see y'all next week, next Saturday. I gotta go to work this week. Gotta bring in the bread, you know? It feel good. So thanks a lot. Love you and peace. And I'm out.